Welcome to OkState Daily. Casey Porter here, joined again by Lee Cothran of Dynasty Defined. And Lee, I'm just going to stop it right there, let you have at it. I thought it was a pretty badass weekend of wrestling. Take it over.
Yeah, it was a great weekend of wrestling for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I know they didn't win a national championship, and they're still 50 points behind Penn State to win that national championship. But at the end of the day, the talk is all about the Cowboys with 8 All-Americans, 4 finalists, and 3 true freshman national champions. To put it into context, there hadn't been an undefeated true freshman national champion since 1947, and Oklahoma State had 2 this weekend.
Vega and
Forrest, with Sergio Vega and Jax Forrest. And then Landon Robidoux was able to put a cap on his season and avenge one of his 2 losses to Antrell Taylor in the finals. So that was just an amazing experience. They're all gave everything they had, and it was just a great event for Cowboy wrestling, and the future is bright orange for them and for the sport of wrestling in general. It looks like it's going to be a real bloodbath between Oklahoma State and Penn State for the next few years. And a lot of the talk coming out of the tournament is a lot of insecurity from the Penn State camp.
Agree.
They're talking about doing things the right way and whatever that means. And there are plenty of examples of them doing things that are very gray area. So I'm not sure they really understand what is and isn't right. And then there's also a lot of just teeth gnashing over what is coming for them. And I think that's really interesting to have happening. And when you come and challenge the throne, I guess that's to be expected. But
with one of your own, the way they're saying it too, I think is where some of that teeth gnashing is coming from.
Yeah, and it's one of their own guys who's making it happen. So I think that's a big part of it. But again, the future is bright for Oklahoma State wrestling, and I really think that the Cowboys are going to go do special things, and this specific group of Cowboys is going to go do special things.
Just to finish up that conversation, I mean, Cale Sanderson's 47 years old. So without David Taylor at Oklahoma State, Cale Sanderson has no resistance whatsoever to winning the next 30 national titles, right? I mean, however many it may be. So even if you do make David Taylor the coach to be, the next coach after Cale Sanderson, the coach in waiting, I guess is how you put that. Okay, when is that going to be? I mean, you want David – I mean, seriously, if you're Cale Sanderson, do you want a talent like David Taylor to have to wait till he's in his 60s to get a head coaching job because you don't want to have any competition? That sucks, man. That's a terrible – that made me lose respect for – obviously I have a massive amount of respect for for Coach Sanderson. That made me lose respect for Cale Sanderson.
Yeah, I think Cale Sanderson's an ultimate competitor, and you have to remember David Taylor wasn't even on his staff.
Yeah, right.
He was running his camp there in State College, and he was training with the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, but he wasn't on a staff. He wasn't coaching full-time. It wasn't really a discussion. And I know that there was a conversation they tried to keep him there. When Oklahoma State came calling and the negotiation, it was a really difficult choice for David Taylor. But he made the decision to come to Stillwater, and he's going to build the best thing possible because he's just like Sanderson. He's an ultimate competitor, and he's a guy who's going to go out and wrestle the best guys and get the best guys, and he's going to try to punch you in the mouth at every chance he gets. And for Sanderson, he did this to his coach back with Bobby Douglas, forced him out of Iowa State, and then 2 years later took his ball and went to Penn State. And so, it's just it's a little bit of there's some hypocrisy in that. And there's some gaslighting, I think,
no
that
doubt.
goes on with Cale. But at the end of the day, the guy is an ultimate competitor, and he's the best coach in college wrestling, one of the best coaches in college wrestling history, no doubt about it. And what he's done at Penn State is amazing, but to expect there to never be a challenge to your crown is a bit naive on his part, I think.
Goodness, yeah. Okay, so let's dive into the actual wrestling. Troy Spratly, what'd you think about him? Of course, he was in the finals last year, didn't make the finals this year, so that from a results perspective, that had to be disappointing, but I don't know enough about it, but I didn't see anything the way he wrestled that would make you disappointed in him.
No, not at all. I mean, he still came in 5th place, had ultimately a really good tournament. I know for his standards, he wanted to be back in the finals. He ran into Luke Lillidahl of Penn State, who ended up being the national champion in the semifinals on Friday night. And he just ultimately made a couple of mistakes that really led to him being in a hole that he couldn't dig himself out of against Lillidahl. And then he goes down to the bottom side and he has to face Vincent Robinson again. So you had not only an NCAA finals rematch in the second round with Vincent Robinson, you had it in the placing matches for the consolation semifinals as well. So that's a really tough draw. He dug deep to beat Vincent that first time and executed a really brilliant move against Robinson. That was really awesome to see. And then he goes out and gets a pin in the 5th place match. So he scored some bonus points along the way too, which is always helpful. But for Spratly, I think that he has a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, I agree. Another kind of the lightning rod of this whole situation. D. Lockett loses his first match, and everybody's kind of like, yeah, well, we told you. We've been telling you all year, even people who don't know a whole lot about wrestling, you're not offensive enough. You're not getting to your offense fast enough. We're not surprised you lost, right? And so that was kind of disappointing. Then I'll say this. I thought the next match after he lost was the best match I had seen him wrestle maybe this entire semester.
With D, look, the guy who beat him in the second round, Cesar Alvan of Colombia, he went on to place 3rd in the tournament and was the highest finisher in Colombia's history. And so, and that's the oldest program in college wrestling. For context. So when you think about how good or bad things are, at Oklahoma State, we're very lucky to have such a great program. But for D, he probably could have gotten to his offense earlier and probably could have been more aggressive in trying to force action. He could have done that all season. He's talented enough to do it. Just in that match against Alvan, he just waited until overtime, and then when he finally committed a shot, he just got a little bit too high, and Alvan made him pay for it.
Did he give up on it a little too soon? I mean, it felt like he went, well, this is over. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think he gave up on it. I think he was just got caught in that tight. And it's sudden victory. So it was.
I thought he had it too, man.
He had it.
Yeah.
He was so close and then just fell a little bit short. And I think that probably would have been a good wake-up call for him had he won that match to go into the quarterfinals and semifinals and perform the way we expect him to perform. But, yeah, D didn't live up to expectations at all. His points would have been nice to have if he would have come in 3rd or 4th place. But at the end of the day, he's a true freshman. I think that's important to remember. He's 18 years old. He's not an old true freshman. He's a guy who is got a really bright future for Oklahoma State. And seeing his buddies, really, really, really close buddies in Sergio Vega and Landon Robidoux go out and win national titles is only going to be fuel for his fire.
I would agree with that. Okay, Casey Swiderski, man. I'll tell you what, I know you win 3 national titles. You have a 2nd place. You have Connor Doucette pinned his way through the blood round to become an All-American. Awesome stuff. I'm not sure anybody actually wrestled better all weekend than Casey Swiderski compared to what they're capable of doing. Just lost some ridiculously tough matches. I'm not sure I came out of this more proud of anybody other than him.
Yeah, Swiderski, I know he's disappointed with 8th place, but he left everything on the mat against Shane Van Ness. And I think that it was just over for him after that one. He was able to win the blood round match to get into the placing rounds, and that was big for him. But against Van Ness, he just, again, left everything out there, was completely the offensive, aggressive wrestler in that match. He had heavy hands, so he was really beating up Van Ness in a lot of ways. He had heavy snaps. He had a lot of good opportunities to go get a takedown. He just couldn't quite finish or get a hold of Van Ness's leg. And Van Ness is an endurance guy and a speed guy, and he really showed that against Swiderski. And other than in the finals, I think Swiderski gave him the hardest match that he had all the tournament. So, a lot to be proud of with Casey Swiderski, especially gritting through after that and winning in the blood round to come in 8th place. I think that for Swiderski, the ceiling is still national championship level next year. 149 pounds is tough, but he's shown that he can hang with the best guys in the weight.
I was glad to see that Zach Ryder got the forfeit. You said he was going to get that instead of having to wrestle that actual blood round match to become an All-American. But man, there's no way you could be any more impressed with that young man going in there with the shoulder situation he had, wrestling as tough as he did, and becoming an All-American.
Yeah, he has surgery on Wednesday, so they're going to get that shoulder fixed up, and he's going to be even better next year. I know that they're not super thrilled with 8th place in the rider camp, but for him to grit through and find a way to get on the podium, you take the forfeits and you take the options that you're given. And I think that he really showed a lot of grit in this tournament and a lot of grit all season because his shoulder was hurt all year. Yeah. So for him, it explains a lot on why his offense was limited and on why he was struggling to get things going most of the year. And I think that for him, get that surgery and then we'll come back next year and the ceiling is going to be really high for him at 184 pounds where you do have a returning national champion, but at the end of the day, it can be competitive for Ryder there.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen anybody actually get a pin in the blood round match to become an All-American like Connor Doucette did?
Not off the top of my head. I can't remember it. I'm sure it's happened. There's not a lot of new things that happen in this sport. Yeah. But Connor Doucette, I've said it a million times. He's been my favorite wrestler on the team for years now because he's just a high quality human being. And if we could have 10 Connor Doucettes in the lineup, I would take that all day, every day, because it's just that means you got 10 young men who are all dedicated, going to work hard, going to be good people on and off the mat, that are going to do well in school, they're going to do well, in life. And for Connor, he really just had to grit through his tournament. He lost to the eventual national champion, Isaac Trumbull, in the quarterfinals, and then dropped down to the blood round and started off looking like he was going to just take care of business and get through that match, but ended up getting that pin. And you love that for the team. You love that for Connor, for sure.
100%. Okay, so let's get into Landon Robidoux and some of the national titles that Oklahoma State won. First of all, let's talk about Cody Merrill. Were you disappointed for him that he did not win that national championship match? Anything there?
No, I mean, I think it was great for him to get to the finals in the first place. He was the 7th seed, so it wasn't exactly written in stone that he was going to be that good. Rocky Elam got upset in the 2nd or 3rd round, which made Merrill's path a bit easier. But he still had to go beat Stephen Little of Little Rock. And that guy ended up coming in 3rd place. And that's a tough matchup for Merrill. And he found a way to come through and get the big win. And then for him in the finals, Josh Barr had a 100% bonus rate up to that point. He had bonused every single guy that he had wrestled until he wrestled Cody Merrill. And Merrill was able to keep it to a regular decision. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to be proud of for Merrill, and there's a lot to build on for him coming into the next season. How does he continue to be more confident in his offense? How does he finish better against taller, lankier guys? Because that's always going to be a challenge for him. So I think for him, it's not a disappointment that he lost that match. Heck, Josh Barr, who won the national championship, lost in the finals last year. So as a redshirt freshman, just like Cody. So that could be the rivalry here next year going forward. And again, to beat Penn State, you have to beat Penn State. Yeah. You can't rely on other people to do it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. What makes Sergio Vega so good? An undefeated true freshman. I mean, what is it that makes him so? I watch him and I'm like, I'm not technician enough in the sport to know exactly what makes him so good because he doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary, and then all of a sudden he just wins every match.
He's a magician. There's no other way to put it with Sergio Vega. He has a flexibility and a mat awareness that really makes him pretty much impossible to take down. He didn't give up a single takedown all year. That is another very rare feat where guys don't give up takedowns. They, don't get anybody even really close to him, which he had several that were close, and he just finds ways to come out on top in those exchanges. I think a lot of it is his flexibility. A lot of it is his skill in scrambling positions. He's just comfortable there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how he does it. I don't think anybody outside of him really knows how he does it. He probably doesn't even know how he does it. Yeah. But he just finds a way to always finish on top in a scramble. And for him, that just led to him having a fantastic season. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. Right. He just had a fantastic season. He just always found a way to find a way. Yeah. And that's that.
Did. Landon Robidoux, have you ever seen of course, Jack's Forest? It would be the obvious answer, but beyond Jack's Forest, a young man that's a freshman like he is, that is so confident in his offense. I mean, it's just impressive to watch how much confidence he has trying to create offense for himself.
Robidoux is just a confident wrestler.
Yes.
He says he comes out when he speaks. When I interviewed him last summer, which you can go find that on Spotify.
I'll put the link in the
Thank you. He is just a confident guy, and it's not cocky, and it's not arrogant. It's just, I'm going to be the best, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to wrestle, and this is what I'm going to be able to accomplish. There were times this season that he didn't seem as confident in his offense. There were times where it seemed like he was a little bit banged up, but he always found a way to grit through those wins. Even in the cases where he lost, he was able to come back and avenge both of those losses on his route to the national championship. He beat Larkin in the quarterfinals or semifinals. Quarterfinals. He beat Larkin in the quarterfinals and then was able to beat Taylor in the finals. So I think that just comes down to the guy believes what he says he's going to do. He believes in himself. He believes in his ability, and he's going to go out and be the best guy in the country. And that's what he was saying all year, and that's what he did. I think he just manifested it. And to do that, you have to be confident. You have to be able to back it up, and he sure did.
Yeah. Kind of cool at Jax Forest. We know he can dominate. We know he can just literally, I think his first match lasted about a minute. I think it was longer than that before he got the tech fall. But what was really cool about some of his later matches was, and this was obviously going to come, it's like, okay, well, it's second, third period, and you could lose this match. This isn't like easy for you, right? How are we going to handle that? Well, he came through in absolute flying colors in those situations. So he showed to be not just the dominant wrestler, but tough, gritty, being able to handle the big moment, too, coming down the stretch, I thought.
Oh, for sure. That was the question, right? How is a true freshman going to be able to handle the spotlight? And for Jax, he's been in the spotlight for years now at this point. He's wrestled on big stages at the senior level world championships, at the U.S. Open, at world team trials. He's been a guy who's just exposed himself to pretty much every scenario that you can be exposed to. And you can see that in his warm-ups. When he goes out to do warm-ups, he's doing what's called stance in motion, which is what you see wrestlers do. They move their hands, they move their feet, they just pretend that they're wrestling. They put themselves in different scenarios. Well, Jax gets down on the mat and puts himself in scramble situations. He puts himself on top. He puts himself on bottom. He puts himself wherever he can, so he's just mentally prepared for every match. And for Jax Forrest, the sky is still the limit for that guy. I mean, he's going to be a world champion. He's going to be a national champion. He's going to be an Olympian. And the thing for him to really focus on is just continuing to separate himself from the rest of the field. Ben Davino is not going to get worse at Ohio State, and that was the only guy that was really even close to Jax Forrest. So I think that for him, it's just a matter of what can I do to just continue to mentally prepare myself to perform on this stage. And I think he's already preparing for next year and doing that. He's just that kind of guy.
And watching Robidoux, Forrest, and Vega, and then you have Ross coming in, the Rainey twins coming in, that may be capable of being in the same situations they are. How do you think mentally that do you think that will allow Ross and the Rainey twins to think, well, heck yeah, I can win a national title my first year here. They did it 3 times last year. Do you think, is there any of that maybe that'll happen?
So I was at the tournament in Cleveland, and in between sessions and after the big session, they have get-togethers at certain places in the cities that they host these things in. The Pokes Wrestling Club rents out a space, and the Alumni Association hosts these happy hours, essentially. And after the tournament on Saturday night, I saw the Rainey twins. I got to ask them, so what's it like to be committed to a place where you can go win a championship as a true freshman, and that's now just been proven, period. And they said, well, we already thought we could win a championship as a true freshman. But at the end of the day, they're excited to be going to a place where they know they're going to get the opportunity to wrestle as true freshmen, to be in a position where they can do that. Now, where do they slot in weight-wise? I don't know. They look like they probably weigh 141, 149, 157. So it's going to be interesting to see where they slot in. But at the end of the day, it was nice to hear from them that, it's great that they're going to go to a place where they can compete immediately and be national champions. And I'm sure Drayshawn Ross feels the exact same way.
Yeah.
So that's really the exciting thing for Oklahoma State is the lineup's not set in stone next season.
Yeah.
There's not really any sure things. There's going to be weight changes. There's going to be guys who move around. There's going to be guys who aren't in the lineup. And that's just going to be a reality for Oklahoma State moving forward. So don't get too attached to any of the wrestlers because there's going to be hard conversations that are going to be had. And it's going to be a really interesting offseason and early part of next fall when they're jockeying out who's going to be the best guy at the weight.
Yeah. Got a couple minutes left here. Let me ask you a really crazy question that probably puts you on the spot a little bit. That's okay. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But if you do find a spot for Ross and the Rainey twins, you already have the three. They already have the three true freshmen that have won a title. Cody Merrill came in second, that kind of deal. Is it theoretically possible to think that in 2 years from now you might have 8 national titles, national champions?
Well, that's never been done before. I think the record is 5, and that's been done a few times. Oklahoma State did it, obviously, back in 2005. That was a big deal when they did it. Penn State hasn't had 5 national champions. It was a big deal for them to have 6. Or they have had 5 national champions. It was a big deal for them to have 6 finalists this year. It's not outside the realm of possibility to say that OSU could be in a position to have 8 national champions in the next couple of years. It's not crazy. I wouldn't pick it just because I think that it's never happened before.
You're good at these answers, by the way. You're covering the whole thing, man. Well done, brother.
But thank you very much. But I think that for Oklahoma State, the goal is really to put 10 guys out there who you feel are going to at least get on the podium and have a chance to win national titles. And I think that for next year, it's not crazy to say Troy Spratley is a guy who's going to win a national title, or
D. Lockett will figure it out.
Of course, D. Lockett is a guy who can definitely win a national championship. Zach Ryder is a guy who can win a national championship. Cody Merrill is a guy who can win a national championship. It's going to be a fun few years to keep track of all these guys. And then there's always going to be, for sure, Swiderski. And there's always going to be people coming in and challenging for that next spot. So you're going to have the Raineys pushing Swiderski. Heck, you might have Sergio Vega pushing Swiderski at 49. You might have one of the Raineys pushing Landon Robidoux at 157. You might have D go up to 174 pounds. You might have Cody come down to 184 pounds. It's all up in the air. There's all kinds of possibilities, which is exciting for somebody who keeps up with all this stuff and tries to figure out what's going to happen. But we're going to see multiple different lineups, I bet, at national duels again this fall. And I think that for the Cowboys, it's just going to be a matter of who's going to be the best guy at any given time. Heck, Ronnie Ramirez could be your 133 pounder. Yeah. And you move Jax Forrest up to 141, you know? So it's just, there's all kinds of, kinds of possibilities. Yeah. I think, and this is something that's happened for Penn State over the years, is their guys stick around. Yeah. I think that's going to happen at Oklahoma State. I think you're going to see that a lot more, where guys like Connor Doucette are going to say, well, okay, I'm going to have to sit behind this guy for a year, but I'm going to do everything in my power to get better and to beat him next year, or to displace him, or to be the best that I can possibly be, because I'm in the environment to do that. Yeah, right. The training environment in Stillwater is now second to none. Yeah. You've got truly great guys across the lineup, and then in the room that are sticking around and training after they're done with their college careers. So I think that we've got a lot to look forward to as Cowboy fans.
Lee Cothran of Dynasty Defined, tell us where we can find all of your work.
Yeah, so Dynasty Defined Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you just search Dynasty Defined Podcast, I'll be there. And then the podcast is posted everywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you search for me on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I guess is what it's called now.
Yeah.
It probably has been called for the past 10 years. Spotify podcasts, all of that is where I host this stuff. So we're going to be bringing you multiple interviews all season, all off season. Dayton and I have had Wyatt Hendrickson. We've had everybody from Wyatt Hendrickson to the trainer, Nick Goldstein, to the marketing guy, Detrick Baumgartner. We're going to get them all on the podcast this year. And you're going to get to hear from all the different people that are in cowboy wrestling and make it the show that it is. Heck, we'll maybe get some assistant coaches this year as well. We're going to always try for David Taylor. I always shoot for that, but he hasn't bit yet. But we'll get him. Maybe if I start talking about it and putting it into the ether, we'll get him to finally say yes. But yeah. Make sure to tune in. We've got a lot of really exciting things coming, and we've got a T-shirt coming out. So make sure to follow us on social media to see that T-shirt.
Very well. Thank you so much, Lee Cothran, Dynasty Defined. Well done.
Thank you.